Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of the Win-Win Effect Show, hosted by myself, Chris Ross, presented by WINJECT Studios. Today we have, man, one of my great friends. Just wrote a new book, and I don't even know how. It's kind of like one of those things when you interview your people that you love to death and have a lot of endearment for. It's just, we just had so much fun before we hit record on this thing. We're like, oh yeah, we have to do an interview. But welcome back to your second appearance on the Win-Win Effect.
Yes.
Yakup, welcome back, man.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Awesome to be here. The second round, and we already chatted about this one. The next time, in the first round, I want to be the first guy because you have how many? Three people? Three people who were twice on your show, and yeah, we will see next time. I know Steve Sims.
Yeah,
also in the second round.
The second time he came back on the show, and he was like, "I feel like we've been here before." You know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels like family. It feels like going back to family and speaking with your family members that you really love and that you respect and that you want to hang around with. Yes.
Yeah, not the family members you have to go to brunch with on Sundays when they have to leave. You know what
I mean? No, not that type of family member.
Yeah. I know. You know what I mean, though. Like you have to go to brunch on a Sunday before they leave, and you're like, I really don't want to go. I just had to spend 2 days with these clowns. You know.
We have to. I mean, it's Sunday. I don't know. And yeah, there's a coffee shop around the corner. We have to go there. Something like that. Yeah. No,
it's because brunch is always a good way to departure, right? Because you can go to brunch, and then when you're at brunch, there's a whole other day that you have to have, so you can make a lot of excuses. You know what I mean?
I have so many plans for this Sunday. Sorry, I would love to do this, but no.
And ideally, the only thing you really want to do is put your fat boy pants on and sit on the couch and watch TV. Oh shit. Anyways, but yeah, man. So a lot of things has happened. A lot of things have transpired since you came on. I mean, I guess for the most part, I like to lead off with this question. It's the only question that I ever lead off with. If you had to introduce yourself to people out there in the world, right? And they see all the accolades, all the things you accomplished and whatever, people in your building, I don't know, out there in Germany, wherever, right? How do you go about introducing yourself to people about what you do and what you're about?
Yeah, that's a cool intro question. So basically, I would say my name is Yakup, and I love technology, but I'm more curious about the people that I'm speaking with. So I'm asking good questions, I think, and I'm super curious about who is in front of me. It's not like that I'm spending a monologue or something. I'm curious. I'm asking honest questions and want to know more about who is in front of me.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that you're a curious person in general?
Definitely, yeah. Super curious.
Go back to like some of the younger sides of you, right? Maybe only go all the way back in the day when you're in diapers, right? Unless you want to, but were you just as curious as a kid?
Super curious. I mean, I was, and in these days, I wouldn't be in front of the camera. I was just running around and jumping like my two sons are doing currently. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that would be me.
Right. I look back at some of the things, I guess, when that's what happens when you have children. It makes you think about when you were growing up and you see yourself in your children. And I was just telling you before obviously we hit record on this. My mom tells a great story. When I was young, I didn't, when I learned how to walk, I ran. And then when I woke up in the morning, when my feet hit the ground, I was gone, and I don't think things change in life unless you step in to conform and be what the world is telling you to be. Have you ever had those type of moments in your life where the world was trying to project a narrative on you or project what they wanted you to be? It takes a lot of courage to step into who you really want to become. You see my point?
Yeah.
Have you ever had those type of experiences? And if so, share with audience.
Yeah, great question. So I would say when you become older, you try to be part of community or society or whatever you call it. And there were times when, especially when I started to work as an employee, there were times that was not authentically me 100%, like I'm now. I was, so I tried to be, but there were people who made pressure or said, no, you can't do something like that. So for example, with the AI, I was on one big event, and then I collected all this information about AI and GPT-3 and AI writing assistants, and I was super excited, and I thought, well, I'm going to my CEO, I'm telling him all these kind of things, and he will be loving me, something like that. That was the thing that I had in my head. And I wrote this email, and I emailed the CEO and the vice president and things like that. And then I get this email back. Well, we need to talk. From my middle boss, so to say, not the CEO. I was a middle management boss, and he said, "Well, Yakup, it was a good intention, but no, we don't do things like that. Sorry, but don't do this again." And I thought, well, why? And I asked also questions, and he said, well, this indicates like the CEO is not aware of these kind of things. And I thought, well, maybe he knows it, but he's not executing it. And he's just talking about it. I mean, what's the point of just knowing something and not executing it?
Right.
Coming back to your question. So this was a time, and then I realized, okay, I can't be 100% authentically me. I have to, make it small or something. But that's over since I have my business.
What type of job was it?
It was content creation. I was a digital editor within a creative agency.
Got it. So they lack creativity, from what I'm hearing.
Creativity and also thinking outside of the box. Maybe new kind of workflows or frameworks, new ideas, things like that. Yes. Okay.
The reason why I asked that question is because these are some of the things that led me and propelled me into entrepreneurship. Was I felt, and I can only speak for myself here, my experiences of being in corporate America. I was a regional director of admissions for colleges, trade schools, and I had a lot of ideas, and people would come to me and say, how are you able to retain as amount of students that you're able to retain and the number that you're able to enroll people into school? I'm like, because I have an uncanny ability to develop a very strong connection with people. And that connection, I will end up discovering by my framework of questions who they really are. And sometimes I would see who they should become if they didn't have all the things around them that was projected onto them, right? Yeah. So if I remove these barriers, they can step into who they should become if I provided solutions. And the reason why I asked that question is because when I'm just relating it to my story a little bit, so that way we can kind of like get a little bit more of an idea of what makes you tick, what makes you you and unique. Because I believe that that's the superpower of everybody else, is what separates you from one content creator or one content, as in when it comes to AI and trying to make that combining artificial intelligence and human intelligence and combining those two. That's very difficult because some people are scared as shit of artificial intelligence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's why I'm asking that question and trying to relate, because if I didn't have those people that were telling me I can't do it this way because it's not meant to do it this way, I wouldn't be who I am today. See my point? So there was something obviously that propelled you into the role you're in now and trying to help people understand you shouldn't be afraid of it. These are massive tools that you can adopt and you can actually take on board to create a better life for yourself and save a lot of time. Would you say that that was some of the things that made you want to write this type of book, was to try to help them understand? And because when you help people understand more, they go a little bit more of at ease. Would you say that was true?
Yes, definitely. So one motivation was also to writing all my experience, because I started with somebody pitched me with these tools, and it was a bad pitch, and I thought myself, yeah, it was a German guy who worked also as a journalist, and it was a lousy pitch because the conditions were bad, and I thought myself, you know what, I can do this better. And then the research began, And I tested so many tools. I tested them, I tried them, and then I created this best of combination of my own framework. And then I said, okay, I have to write this down because it's too valuable. Other people need this.
Right.
Because this is just the beginning, ChatGPT and DALL-E 2. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And I mean, we probably have the GPT-4 launch this year. So these models are becoming so much better, and it saves you a ton of time and money for your business. That's the key point. So I have this, I told you this before we went live. One of my neighbor, he needs press releases, and he said it's painful every week writing this kind of press releases. I need some tool. Do you have something? And I just sent him the link to ChatGPT, basically, literally. And he said, that's wonderful. Thank you. That takes me so much time. He just sent me a message today. I mean, that's super basic, but you can be more high level, but using these tools enables us to have the real important stuff. Mm-hmm. You having more time with your daughter, I having more time with my kids, son, and bicycling or something, or having conversations like this, interviews like this. I don't want people to do stupid, maintaining, boring stuff on a daily basis. I want them to give this to the AI and focus on the real important tasks. That's my goal.
So the key driving factor is to save more time, and you're utilizing the tools in a way to where you can conserve some of the time to the things that you really want to do in a day. As a CEO and me running companies, right? It's difficult for me sometimes because I want to deploy some things within my organization to really help them be more creativity. I really try to inspire people to be an entrepreneur. I really reward those, but not everyone's built to be an entrepreneur. Okay.
But why do you want to push this? So why do you think is it important to give, or that you want them to think at least entrepreneurial?
Because I want them to take ownership within their role.
Love it.
So cool. That's the key. That's the key driver for me, is if I create more ownership for them, even just mentality, then they will actually understand and treat my business like they would treat theirs. So if I start teaching them by little small steps and doses of them taking ownership within their role, they can start expanding their mind to what they maybe would do differently if they had an opportunity, right? So, and I think that some of these tools, when it comes to artificial intelligence, it allows people to save a little bit more time and making their job easier. As a CEO, my prime focus is to put people in a position to win. If I don't put them in a position to win, I'm failing my staff. That's the way I look at it. And that might be a little different than some people would try to communicate that, but that's part of who I am. And so if I have a staff bring me an opportunity or bring me a tool that we're able to use that conserves a little bit more time for them to work on, I guess, getting down to the core and the root and the essence of a brand or a business, or it doesn't really matter, whatever they're working on, a project, that they're able to do that and do a better job, that's going to make me more money. See my point?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day.
But you're doing it in the correct way, because these tools, I mean, every day they're popping up new tools. The tool is not the main thing. I'm very tool oriented, and I'm testing all these tools because it's like a passion. But it starts with the mindset of your people. If they say, well, AI, I don't know, I will be replaced by these tools. I don't want to use them.
That's a mindset. Yeah.
So you're starting with the right direction. So you're starting with their mindset and training them, and then the tool is the second, the third step. That's totally fine. This will come. But if the mindset is right, then everything else is easy, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of time, and I think that's probably one of the most pervasive issues, and I'll let you speak on this because you have more knowledge when it comes to this, right? I think the most pervasive issue when it comes to artificial intelligence, and people are a little bit more reluctant to the idea of adopting that they can be replaced by a fucking robot. Okay. You know what I mean? And if you're looking at it through that lens, of course, there's a lot of scarcity there.
Yes.
And they're going to hold on to things that they're bought into the identity of them being successful or whatever that might be, or the competitive advantage. Would you say that's the most pervasive issue? If so, yes, that's fine. And you're more than welcome to disagree. But if you feel that there's another most pervasive issue when it comes to people being reluctant to artificial intelligence, please share.
So I think this is the elephant in the room, the whole replacement debate. So that's one of the biggest things, in my opinion. So, but it's not true. I don't believe in this replacement thing, because if I have this presentation where I show how much time I need for creating a blog article, for example, just a tiny
that
thing
takes a lot of time for people.
Yes. So it's replacing the time that I have to make for the research. So it's helping me, enabling me. So I'm starting with a first draft much faster than just starting from scratch. That's the main point. So it saves me time. It depends a little bit on the topic and the length, but it saves me 3-4 hours for one blog article. That's the reality. And this will be, if a team is included and uses AI, this will happen also for the whole team exponentially, not only for one person, but for the whole team. It will be not 3 hours, it will be 30 hours, 40 hours for each team.
Right. I took a little sabbatical a little while ago. I wouldn't really call it that, but I took some time off, and it was some much needed time off for myself to kind of I got WINJECT up to the point to where, my current project, and I'm still have my other organization. I stepped down as a CEO a year before that. So it took a year to make sure all these other contracts, we didn't lose those contracts. Right. And because, the end of the day, my organization was built off of me. So they were like, I don't want to lose Chris. If he stepped down as CEO, I don't want to be a part of this. So it took me a year to kind of reassure these contracts. Listen, you're in a good spot. Okay. Relax. So when I got WINJECT to the point to where it was at least a foundation was developed, then I took a little bit of time to kind of reset, get myself back to neutral. Right. And that opened up a creative side of me. However, here's the bad side. Okay. I came back to over 400 emails. Okay. I would personally, that's the thing that I hate most is emails. I would like maybe an artificial intelligence tool to pre-write my emails based on my other responses that I've ever responded to emails before, not to send off, just to pre-write all the bullshit at the beginning. Hey, I hope you're well, blah, 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 that type of stuff. And preset the email to when I go to my inbox, I can go to my inbox. This is just an idea. Okay. So I go to my inbox and I go, okay, here's 400 emails to 400 potential responses. And I can go through and approve that. See where I'm going with this?
So, so not exactly, I mean, this kind of thing, I didn't recognize so far, but maybe it's a gap in the market. But I had one conversation with a CEO. He was based in Germany. I forgot the city, but what they do is they're giving the emails priorities. So based on you're connecting your email, your Gmail or whatever, Outlook and Gmail with this tool, and then based on the history of how you interact with people, how fast you respond, they are collecting data points. Okay. Chris reacted to Yakup's email super fast. That means if Yakup writes him again, this is priority 1, of course, something like that. Yeah, you get the picture, so that okay, these out of these 400 emails, these 40 emails are priority 1. So you don't have to check all 400 emails, but focus on these 40, and you'll find you already did 80% of the work that has to be done within 1 day, something like that. So that's already on the market. And when it comes to the copy, I mean, so I'm using a writing assistant where you can formulate emails. That's already possible. So it's not like that. It is within Gmail, but you need one separated Google Doc where you have priority 1 email is here.
Okay, and then I got it. I'm following here. Yeah.
Something like that.
So it is possible. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going off of maybe, and that's what I kind of was thinking about yesterday when we were going to get on here today and have a conversation. I was like, what would be the one tool that I would want as a CEO?
Yeah.
And me personally, I hate emails. And my whole staff will tell you this, okay? That I will not respond to emails unless you're on fire, okay? So, because I hate the ones that they just CC me on things. My whole staff knows, don't CC me on emails that I don't really need to know about, okay? I mean, you have whatever. We have meetings for this, okay? I don't need to have a meeting about an email, all right? So that's just my biggest pet peeve. But if something's on fire, I want to know, but you have other ways to communicate with me other than email. I'm just saying. So I was thinking about yesterday, it was like, what would be the tool that I would want personally, right? For the tools that are available today, which tools do you feel that can be the most effective within organizations? And if so, also on top of that question, I would like to understand and like the audience to understand if there are any new tools coming out that we should be aware of and kind of look out for.
Yeah. So one tool that I have a live show where I interview CEOs basically of software companies, and one of these tools is 𝙬𝙬𝙖, 𝙬𝙬𝙖. I interviewed the CEO, who's Kate, and I think this tool is filling a gap within the market, and it's available. It can be used by any company because it's combining two things. It's combining the content creation part and also the distribution part. And this is interesting because normally I have one tool where I create deep fake videos, one tool where I can create audio production with my voice, one tool for image generation, and then I have a separate tool where I upload the content and connect with my social media channels. And lately it's combining these two. So I'm connecting my Facebook, my LinkedIn, my Twitter accounts with lately. I can upload this recording of this interview and create video snippets and distribute it directly to my channel.
Okay.
That's a cool thing. So video, audio, and also text production within one tool, which has also GPT-3 technology. So based on the transcript that is coming from the audio or the video, it's giving me social media captions already. So I'm starting with 60% of the captions. I have to iterate a little bit, and then I can schedule it directly to my channel. So it takes a ton of time.
And it's called lately.
𝙬𝙬𝙖. Yes.
I've seen some other things that, and just like yourself, we utilize a lot of different types of ones. Like, so there's an app called Captions that we utilize for social media stuff. So like this interview will take, and then maybe if we do it in a different frame, right, then it will have the captions in different fonts, and then also different colors of the fonts. And it really pops people, because when people can read things as they're listening, it keeps their attention, because we're in a society now where we have a shorter span than a goldfish, or even shorter, because people are so stupid, right? But sorry, but even like the reels, right? It's creating the swipe, same type of thing with like Angry Birds, and it's imprinting in your head. So like Instagram, when they move the notifications up to the top right, I believe it used to be the little heart, the notifications. They moved that. That used to be in the middle, and then when they moved that, they put the reel button in the middle. This is like probably 2 years ago now. And what that was basically telling you is that's going to be the priority now. So people maybe weren't paying attention. Obviously not just saying myself, I'm sure other people caught on. I'm not the only idiot, right? So people caught on, and you notice the reels, they go up just like that. It's the same direction. So they're keeping you hooked on doing this. So what you're saying is on Lately app, you're able to not have to edit the video, chop up the video. It does it all for you, and then puts everything all in one. So because there's a lot of people that I do know that are content creators, and that's obviously part of what WINJECT does. They spend a lot of freaking time editing reels. One reel, and they'll edit it, and then they'll get it out, and like 5 people watch.
That's how it starts. Your mom is liking it. Your dad is liking it.
My cat had an account. They'll like it.
That's how it works. Yeah, in the beginning, everybody is starting there, but then, you have to take care of these 5 people, and then it will be 10 one day, and then 15. But back to your question. So you can do some editing. You can do the videos shorter and longer. You can upload intro and outros of it, but you can't do a reel. You can't do an Instagram reel. So that's the reason why I'm not the biggest fan of Instagram, honestly, because Instagram.
I'm not either.
Yeah, I can automate a lot of things on LinkedIn and it saves me time. But Instagram is one of the channels where I have to be on Instagram. Otherwise, it feels like it's not working. So
I go on Instagram twice a day. I go, well, not just Instagram. I go on all my channels twice a day, typically. The first time I go on, I think it's at 8:30 every morning. And that's usually when I'm responding to messages that my team flags, right? And also I'm checking what has been posted from, because I don't post a lot on Instagram, but my staff, obviously we have other creators and whatnot, that what they're posting and how well it looks. So I'm usually checking reports of statistics and analytics. And that time I will tell you, between 8:30 to 9:15-ish, around like 9:15, I'm usually in the reels laughing at stupid shit that I shouldn't be doing, you know?
So, ladies and gentlemen, for everybody who's listening, if you want to reach out to Chris Ross,
that's the best time to get me, yeah.
Yes, that's the best time to get your attention.
Yeah, that's the best time to get my attention on those sites. After that, I like to protect my time. Protecting my focus is the biggest.
That's important.
That's the biggest thing for myself, is protecting my focus. Because if I'm protecting my focus, whatever I'm focusing on, I'm usually going to get to an optimal type of result. But if I feel like I'm being pulled in 50 directions, like the monkey from Wizard of Oz, with all the monkeys come down like the scarecrow, that's how I feel when my anxiety goes off. So I don't like, that's not the best way for me to live my life as a CEO, being pulled at, right? So when they're going into some of the AI, this is one of the things that I wanted to kind of connect on this call with. Some of the type of the artificial intelligence and some of the tools that are available today can help people really save tons of time to get to the core and the root of whatever they want to do in life or in business. Because you don't want to deploy your whole staff just with AI unless, you know, you feel comfortable with doing that. There's some organizations and some industries that still need that human element. And then my next question would be also with the industries, what industries do you feel that have the most opportunity of making an easy switch to artificial intelligence and helping them get to an optimal level?
You said a very interesting thing, just making this human touch, human nature. I'm using AI, but I would say everybody needs also human touch. So yes. I'm always saying I'm creating blog articles. 50%, 60% of the blog articles are AI produced, and the rest 40% is my own human magic that I'm adding to it. And that's important. That's important. It's not about being perfect. Nobody wants a perfect article. It should feel like it is written by
human
me.
wrote it.
So,
yeah.
Yes. There should be so it's always about combining these two elements, combining my own human intelligence with the artificial one, and making the most impactful team. That's the core goal. And when it comes to your question, I think organizations that are already, so to say, technology interested, so software companies, for example, or IT industries, these kind of corporations where people are already testing a lot of tools. I have a client who's in the consulting business, and basically, but very focused on AI products.
Okay.
So these guys, they contacted me and said, Yakup, we need somebody like you working for us because you know all these tools. That's awesome. So they are already very open and also very interested in these kind of things. But I think every company, small and medium sized, can leverage AI to create blog articles, email captions like you mentioned, or social media captions. It's not like that only one specific vertical can. Some are more open to it. That's the thing. So if a software company is much more open to AI than a traditional, I don't know.
No, I love this. I'm just writing down also for some, for listeners, and because the main thing is when, I think that's part of like why I have had the success with the show is that I'm listening from my perspective, but I'm also listening out for their questions that they would potentially have, right? Yeah. Because a lot of people I feel that our listeners of my show, they're just excited to listen to a different mind and pick the brain of their expertise. But I think there's so much out there, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence and combining that human element to it and that intelligence of the human. They get so scared of utilizing one of those tools. You got GBT and all the things coming out, right? And I love this shit, right? But most people, they're not open to the concept. And that's why I've been really spending a lot of time in the last 2 years trying to, I wouldn't say force, but give it to them in doses with my organization and allowing them to be open to the idea of utilizing other things that they're holding on to. And you're mentioning blog articles and writing. That's the one that where people, like, I'm dyslexic. So me, writing up a blog and writing up emails, it makes me want to jump out of a window. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's needed for business.
Thanks for honesty.
Right. No, I'm being honest. It makes me want to jump out of. I would never jump. But you know what I'm saying? I'm scared of heights anyway.
Good.
So
we need you, Chris. We need you.
Relax. So it's gonna be okay. AI is here, right? So with those tools, and the reason why I'm asking them, I'm kind of framing the question this way. What would your advice be to people that are in that type of scarcity type of mindset and they're not open to the idea? What would you say to those type of people?
I mean, there's this example of this phone receptionist who, for this long distance calls in the 50s and 60s, there was a woman who, when you made a long distance call, there was this woman who picked the
operator.
The operators, exactly. So I read in one of my colleagues' books that was one of the biggest job opportunities for women in the 50s and 60s. And I mean, this is completely replaced and gone. So this is the power of technology, and it will come. You can say, well, I don't like it, I don't want it, but every day there are new news. It's coming. It's already here, and it's coming in bigger waves. So either you prepare yourself and get yourself in a mindset where you say, okay, I don't have to love it, but at least I'm going to try it. Because if I don't try it, I will be in serious problem. Because I'm saying this all the time, in the near future, it will be in the job description that you are AI skilled. And if you're not AI skilled, well, what will happen if you're speaking with your future boss, hopefully, if they say, what AI tools are you using? And you say, no one, because I don't believe in AI, what will happen? So either you become AI skilled and test them, or you will get in serious trouble and you will be out of business, or you will not get your next job. That's what I don't like to fear people. It's really not that shouldn't be the message. I want to inspire people to use these tools, because if you test them, you will recognize you will save a lot of time, and you will have the freedom and the creativity for doing more important tasks. That's what I would focus more. But for somebody who doesn't want to try new things, the first part would be my message.
One of the biggest things that separated my approach when it came to me going in corporations, when Facebook bought Instagram, it created a lot of opportunity for myself, where people didn't have an understanding on how important sales component was to human connection. People are just trying to make every part of their life transactional. And your employees, even the people that you're training in that way, they're losing, because we're in the information era of sales. Now we're getting to the artificial intelligence era of sales, where you think you're talking to a normal person, and it's not even a person, it's a robot, okay? And it's artificial intelligence. But my issue, I think, when it comes to that type of stuff, there's still a human element that needs to be on the other side. And I think that's why I love the description of your book, is combining artificial intelligence and human intelligence and making them, and so that way you're able to spend more time on the things that you want to spend time on, okay, and be more effective, short-term, long-term. So when I know that when people have a lot of issues when it comes to sales, because I never was labeled as a salesperson until I started my first organization, and I'm gonna get to my question here. how do you feel about the sales industry adopting artificial intelligence and combining that with human intelligence?
That's a super good question, and I'm not a sales trained, so I'm getting some sales training currently by a coach. But basically, everybody is in sales. If you are applying for a job, that's sales, my friend. So you're selling your own expertise to a company. That we're selling all the time. When I'm speaking with my children, I'm selling. I'm selling the idea that they should not eat chocolate before dinner. So if you're a parent, you're a salesperson. You're becoming a better salesperson, I think.
100%. I feel if you train yourself talking to children, you can learn how to really articulate the meaning behind it.
Yes.
Because the kids are curious. Because they're gonna be like, you're full of shit. Nope.
Are you sure? No chocolate?
You're full of shit. Okay. But yeah, so my point is of getting to that sales side of it and it's okay. I mean, a lot of people have their own feelings when it comes to the word sales. It implies scarcity and fear upon people. They're like, because they're coming from a different a society and era.
Mm-hmm.
So when we moved over to the education era of sales and actually data, then people started being open to different perspectives. Okay. Now we're shifting over to artificial intelligence and combining that with human intelligence. People are now a little bit even more scared because when they go to websites and they're going to all these other things, they're being communicated from artificial intelligence and they not feel heard. And I feel that it could be a decline if your artificial intelligence isn't combining well with your human element of your organization. You'll lose more sales at the very beginning because you got one shot. You can't introduce yourself twice to a company, right? So if I went to your website and I'm trying to get to a product, service, good, and your artificial intelligence is sending me stupid shit that I feel is stupid, I'm not going to want to work with that company because I can't even get to the conversation yet. See my point? What would you say to those people on both sides of that spectrum? Would you say that it's best for them to take the time to make sure they can combine that human element and artificial intelligence? Or, I mean, I don't know. I'm open to the idea here, right? So I'm just saying as an entrepreneur, as in today, and I'm thinking about as a consumer or a person going to a company, if I feel a disconnect, I don't want to work with them.
It's interesting that you're asking me the sales question because I have one lady I'm in the content space. I believe that content is the foundation to get to the connections and have conversations like this, where at the end I can pitch something like that. I have my internet live show where I can get introduced to people, and content is the foundation to make the sale in the long term. That's how I see it. But when it comes to AI and sales, I had this conversation last week, a lady who's using different kinds of CRMs and but I would not be scared to use AI within the sales process. I would try to use and leverage AI to get more conversations like this, Zoom calls like this, and to understand the pain points of other people. I think it's great to use these tools because it's easier to get to the first conversation through automated content that I leverage and distribute on my channels, and then follow up with people. I mean, LinkedIn is sometimes reminding me, hey, this is 3 days ago. He didn't respond yet. Do you want to follow up? Or on Gmail, that's also AI based. So this email was not answered. Do you want to answer back and follow up back? I mean, I would forget it if Gmail is not reminding me. Why not use these kind of technology more? And I mean, yes, I'm getting annoyed if I'm being texted 10 times a day by an AI, but I see it that way, that the AI helps me to get to the first call faster. That's how I see it. So you have to use this technology not to annoy people, but to help them, to help your sales team, your content team to get to the first call faster. That's how I see it.
Well, I think also too, would you agree that it also helps to conserve a lot of time and effort and energy when you have the conversation, if you're being texted or you're being communicated to, and you're getting notifications to give you more information about the call, then you're more prepared going into the call. It inspires confidence. It exudes that, right? When you can get on a phone call, I don't like my time wasted. That's the biggest thing that it drives me at the wall. It's someone wasting my time.
Yeah, you don't get it back. You don't get back the 15 minutes that annoyed you. I mean,
then I try to focus my brain on, okay, I can't control the situation. I need to diffuse my emotions of me getting pissed off, right? Of them wasting my time, and me, in my mind going, I've cursed them out in every way possible in my mind. I'm not going to do it in person, right? So therefore I'm trying to get it out and just let it go, right? So I can focus on the productivity side. So, and I think that AI, it can do that for you for the things that, I mean, it's just a simple reminder that, hey, you need to look at this email again, or you need to take a look at your missed calls or your missed whatever opportunities. And a lot of times I feel when it comes to just pertaining to sales, those type of tools can help organize yourself as a sales team or organization to connect more with your buyers. Because sales is connection. That's all it is.
Yes.
That's the way I describe it. There's a training. I have to send you the training. Remind me, because I will forget. There's a training that I did for a company where for the first 30, 45 minutes in the sales training, I was just trying to get their understanding of what they felt about the word sales. No one can tell me what sales was. No one.
Yeah, that's crazy. So what you basically did was you were listening. Active listening and not just giving a monologue that I mentioned earlier. So you're listening and rephrasing what they say, basically.
Yeah, I didn't do any hard work. They thought they were going to get on and have this guru tell them how to make more money. And by the time I got off the call, they're all praising me for it. Yeah. Oh my God, you're amazing. I'm like, I didn't even teach you anything yet. I didn't teach you anything other than I taught you how to listen. And I taught you how to paraphrase from their words that they were using. So would you say, I kept asking a lot of questions. Would you say that that would be true or false? And they were just blown away by it. And we're like, no one's ever taught me these things. I'm like, this is normal communication. This is just normal communication. And I loved what you said, that we're all in sales. I believe when you're born, if you got slapped on the ass when you were crying, that you were pretty much convincing the doctor, don't hit you anymore. You're alive. Relax. Okay.
That's pretty good communication. Yeah.
You're communicating. You're like, listen, bro, like I'm alive. Don't hit me, Yeah. So I got it. So talked about obviously want to save time with this episode in helping people learn more about you and the essence of why you wrote the book, right? So give me your pitch of the book. So if I was a guy or a company and I wanted to maybe have my marketing staff read a book, your book, how would you pitch my company of them investing the time, energy, and resources into reading your book and taking something from that of combining artificial intelligence and human intelligence? What would you say to me?
Yes. So it's about making the biggest impact within this decade. So if you want to stay in your business and grow your business, you have to think about leveraging the time of your employees and your company in general. So you don't get more time, you don't get more hours within the day, but what you can do is leveraging AI technology to create more blog articles, better articles, more captions, use deep fake videos for tutorial kind of videos to leverage your own time and make your clients more happy. That's the main focus. So if you want to get to the next level when it comes to marketing efforts, then this is the book that you should read. I'm giving the frameworks, I'm giving the tools, and also give suggestions how to integrate workflows within your team so that there's a smooth combination of how your staff should work and how you should use these tools within your organization.
Beautiful. That's great. I interview people that have written books, okay? And they can't give me a pitch. Like, who wrote this book?
No pressure.
I actually said that at a dinner party one time, okay? True story.
Yeah.
And this is for the listeners to hear a little bit more about my life. Okay. So I went to a dinner party. And I went to this dinner party, and you know how you're there meeting people that you're connected to in some type of form or fashion. And I always end up being at a table, and they always place me in the middle of the table. There's different spots of your table that can drive conversation. So my friends know to put me in the middle of the table because I could drive conversations. See my point? Larry David talked about it in Curb Your Enthusiasm, that show. Do you know what I'm talking about? He was talking about you can't be a middle person. A middle person has to drive conversations. Anyways, I'm having a conversation with this guy, and he wrote this book, and he couldn't tell me what the hell he wrote.
Did you wrote the book actually,
like,
or was
it a
ghostwriter?
I'm confused here. Like, you told me that you wrote these books, and I'm asking questions, and I can't stop my mind. So it was like pass the potatoes, pass this, and I'm cutting up my steak, and then I just sat there, and I was like, I have to ask you another question. Okay, so what you're telling me this book you wrote? I'm confused here, and I can't stop myself sometimes, So that was a great time. That was a great response. I think the hope listeners without my whole like fiasco of me explaining that story, but you know what I mean by people can't describe to you what they wrote, because a lot of times AI could write books for people. Does that make sense? You see my connection here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Were you open to that type of concept when you were writing this book? Is how much of that is AI generated?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a legitimate question. So it's a good starting point when I'm using AI tools for creating the chapters. Yes, of course, I use writing assistant to give me some basics of the, but it's not 100% AI produced. It's 100%. I give my ideas. I made the structure. I edited. I changed things. I created a lot of videos for showing tutorials how to use these kind of tools, and included them also into the book. And so to answer your question, yes, absolutely, but it's not 100% because an AI writing assistant can't tell my story. I mean,
no,
it can't tell your personal branding. That's not possible.
Yeah, that's a key element of the human connection. It's tying in the emotions and telling the story and sharing that story through compassion. And this is where I see a lot of people. And I can only talk about my experiences, obviously, in life, but I always lean towards the sales side more because that's where I made my bones in entrepreneurship. So that's where the side that makes me more comfortable. Mm-hmm. And I feel that there's two. Up until now, I feel there's three coming up, but there's two skills that an entrepreneur needs to acquire: understanding about finance and tax laws, and also sales. Because if you're a better salesperson or you're a better communicator, you can market better. The sales component ties into everything, and you can fill your orders more. And because sales is an industry, in my opinion, where there's a lot of emotional intelligence that needs to be adopted in order for you to truly understand the problem of what the situation is. Because people would much rather come to me for a recommendation, because I'm going to really sit down with yourself and say, Yakup, this is your situation. This is what you're trying to accomplish. These are the things you wish to accomplish. If you're able to get to this spot, based on what you're telling me this is your life. This is a situation. These are potential solutions to this problem. Here's my recommendation for you. See the way I just framed that? The things that you share with me help me make my decision with this recommendation. Is there anything else that you're sharing with me, you feel that you haven't shared with me, that can help me make a better recommendation for you at this time? With the way I frame that, if salespeople can actually take that snapshot of what I just said, that makes them more presentable.
Yeah. Super powerful.
And it also has a way of that human element to it. Like, can you please share more with me if you feel that you left something out? And people feel that. Yeah,
and it's very smart because nobody likes people who say, "Yeah, you should do this or that."
Exactly.
I have still the capacity to make the decision myself, but you're just pushing me very gently into the direction making this decision. So it's very smart. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, because it diffuses all emotion. If you feel, and I use a lot of key words here when I'm saying things like this, if you feel that you've left something out, now's the time to share it with me. So basically, in a nutshell, what I said, listen, motherfucker, you told me this, right? You told me this, you told me this, and you're going to tell me based on my recommendation, you don't want to do this. I'm confused here. You see, obviously,
what's wrong with you?
Yeah. So people don't want to hear that shit. So I have to dummy it down. And I feel that when it ties in artificial intelligence and human intelligence, there's a massive gap that needs to be identified and developed for people to be able to do that effectively. And that's something that I am open and I'm excited for. If there is companies or there are going to be tools that can be developed to do what I just did.
I think there will be never an AI that is capable of it.
That'll be a scary AI. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm very curious, and I don't want a future where people are replaced by AI. It's really not what I wish, because I think this human magic, it's something magical, and we have to protect this. And don't get me wrong, I am a big AI enthusiast, and some people called me already AI evangelist, who is promoting AI in a big way. But still, I believe in this mixture of AI and human intelligence, which is the biggest impact.
And I appreciate you sharing, obviously the things coming out in your new book, May 1st, people can make sure they grab that. I'll be in the show notes and all that good stuff and how to find. But if there's something that I've left out that you really want to share with the audience, is there anything that you really want to maybe potentially relay over to them and convey that, listen, this is the book you need to read and for the reason. So if there's anything I left out, please feel free to share.
I think you shouldn't be not scared to test things. I mean, these tools are software companies, software tools, where you can give it a try and try them for free. This is 7 days or 14 days, or even sometimes 1 month that you can try. And you shouldn't be scared to test out things and acquire and also purchase things. I'm buying lifetime deals, for example, on AdSumo, which is a great software marketplace. And you can buy, you pay once and you can use them forever. So
really?
There's a low risk. Yeah, there's a low risk using these tools. So you don't have to spend 10,000 of euros, like in the old days when it comes to AI. Spend $50 a month, or even a lifetime deal, €50.
I love lifetime deals. I love lifetime deals. It takes the resistance away.
Yes, it's low risk because you don't know. I tried this on Kajabi, for example. I had 1 year 1 year deal, and I paid $1,000, and I tested it 2 months, and the rest 10 months I never tried again. So it was like after that 1 year, I said, well, I didn't use it very well. That was not very smart.
I don't like Kajabi. The Kajabis that, to be honest with you, and this is not a dig to Kajabi, I feel that they do have a need and obviously a market for what they're trying to do. But I feel that their software and the way it looks, you look like everybody else.
Yeah.
So why am I going to use something that can't be adaptable to my essence or the brands that I have coming on board?
Yeah.
So that's what kind of inspired me to build WINJECT in the first place. Is like if I'm talking about all this creativity and inspiring people to be their true authentic self and step into themselves, I can't promote something that isn't allowing them to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also not a big fan of Kajabi, but it was just an example why lifetime deals are just a better way to make investments. So that was my point, and I'm totally with you. So just making things like it feels well to my brand is super important. Yeah.
Guys, peace out. Reach out to Yakup. Get this book. It'll be in the show notes, and it'd be hard not to find him when I start promoting it. So I appreciate it again. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, take care.